Hey, I'm Jen Wallace, and this podcast is here to talk to business owners, and we're sharing thoughts, experience, all about culture, team connection, and leadership. I'm a change maker, and I'm here to change your business. So without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Welcome, Laurena Vannucci. Did I say that right? I always just think of you as Big Red, but you're Laurena.
You did say my name correctly, Jen Wallace. Thank you.
You always say my name, my
I say your full name because I feel like you're just like a vision. Like I have to say Jen Wallace. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's the business name, and I'm always saying Jen Wallace Consulting.
Yeah, okay, I feel like it's something like that. I always say it like that.
Thank you for sharing your time with me today. I invited you here because I really want to talk to you about your career journey, your life journey, and I have so much respect for you and admiration of the feels of where you're at in your life as a young, you're not even 30 yet.
Nope.
No, you're still, my gosh, you're younger than my children. And so I just wanted to touch on for you going through a leadership journey yourself, and we've been working together mentoring for quite a while. I think we did it unofficially and now we're doing it officially. And so, I just wanted to share your story as well, Laurena, with our listeners, and how you're, from the outside can seem so put together because you're always on point fashion-wise, definitely, and articulately. But I'd love to get deep down a bit of vulnerability with Laurena.
I feel like I do portray that a lot, and that's because I have, how they say it's not a fashion show? I'm like, it is a fashion show.
Yes.
So that's why I always look so put together. But I am far from that, and I'm still like on my own journey, and I'm a work in progress. I have so many hats that I'm juggling and
what
so
are
many
they?
things.
Let's share.
Well, I've got my full-time job.
Yes.
I also have two young kids, so a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So my 4-year-old goes to school next year, which is going to present its own set of like challenges and everything.
Yeah.
And I have a husband who works 80 hours a week.
Yep.
So I'm basically doing a lot of it. There's just a lot to manage within like the day-to-day aspects of life, like amongst that. And then amongst that, I've got other things. I've got a big family and all those things.
And you do charity work? You don't do some volunteer work as well?
Yeah, I do as well because I get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
So
who is that with? Just we'll give them a
that's
mention.
With the Financial Superwomen Project as part of Broken to Brilliant. It's helping domestic violence survivors have financial freedom after leaving their relationships. So, it's really important. I've only just started doing it, but it's been really good.
Awesome.
So I really, I've just started doing that, and then obviously just other things I like we're in our B&I group, and I'm on the membership committee. So there's all the different stuff that comes into that I'm trying to juggle with my workload. But it's just trying to do my best job as like for showing up for everyone. So sometimes that gets challenging.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for you with your career, how did it start? Where were you as a young woman before you had children then? What were you doing?
So I was working in a bank back about 10 years ago, which is where I got my original insurance qualification, which is just in like home and contents, very basic, like domestic level products. So I started back then, and then throughout that time had a few different roles, various different roles. And then I eventually moved back to my hometown, and I did a traineeship so it's an elders insurance, which is basically like a rural services brand. But I worked for the insurance aspect of it. Yeah. And I did a traineeship through them and got my qualification in business insurance and did a lot of farm insurance during that time as well. So that's basically where I kick-started doing insurance, and I really started to enjoy it. I had a great team, family-orientated team. I was like the only person that worked there that didn't have kids. And now I feel like, the tables have turned. But I think working with them was so good because they instilled such family values onto me.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much like, I know this is like a little bit old school, but it's like, the women, they don't work during the school holidays.
Okay.
You're just going to be here.
Right.
Like, it was a bit like that. So I was like, yeah, cool. But it was good because I was like thrown in the deep end a lot. So
Yes.
I really liked it. But I think like for me now, looking from my perspective, when I'm looking at people in my team that have school holidays, I'm like, I get it. Like I get it from the kids aspect. So I'm like, yes. Like, let's make this work. Let's work as a team. Let's make things happen so that you can spend time with your kids.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me. So I think it's sort of like, it wasn't that hectic where I was, but it just sort of like made it so that I am aware of it. So that's been really good. And then, I moved up here and then did some various other things, and now have been working at Insurance Web for 3 years. And I did start as a broker assistant. Then I moved into, I got pregnant.
Surprise.
Surprise, like literally immediately. It was, it all worked out.
You're still there. So.
Potentially not great timing for them.
No.
Or me. But here we are. So I did that, had I think 4 months maternity leave, and then came back full time. And ever since then, everything's just been like chaos, I feel.
Gosh.
Because, it's just been like flat out since then, I feel like. So in that time, I was working as an assistant account executive, and then just over a year ago, I got promoted to an account executive, which means that I manage my own portfolio of business insurance clients.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you love about insurance, Laurena? I hear you every week, but you tell our listeners, what do you love about the insurance and the work you do?
I actually just love working with my clients. Like, I have good clients. They're just, and I love working with passionate business owners. And I think that the main thing that I do love about insurance is I get to learn about every industry. Like, I'm not like limited to one particular thing. I can find insurance solutions for all industries. And I always say, it's the perfect job for someone who can't decide what they want to be when they grow up, because I just get to do everything. So it's great.
And let's talk, I want to talk to you juggling being a full-time mom, obviously, and I know you have your husband there, but he's working 80 hours. So obviously that falls then mainly in your plate, in your lap, and then working full-time. How do you manage and juggle that? So I know you mentioned this morning there are moments when it does turn to shit. So,
those turn to shit moments happen like every day. And I think that I'm still working on ways to make it work without completely like something happening and me just completely falling off the rails for the rest of the week, because I'll just like get off my train tracks and I'll be like, but in my head I'm trying to do what's best for everyone. So I'm trying to do what's best by the people that I work for, the people that I work with, my clients and my children. So I'm trying to do the best by everyone. And in my head I go, this is the best way for me to do that. But then I don't always communicate that with people. I'm just like, wee. I'm like, it's all in my head.
You've got it planned out, mapped out, and you're not always sharing.
Yeah. So I have started working with the people that I work with better on my communication skills.
Okay.
But it's just, I'm always like, I feel like, I'm like, oh, do you have that level of trust with me? But then it's like, I also need to communicate with them so they know what I'm doing, and they're like, where's Laurena?
Okay. So speak to that piece. For you say that it's in your head. How are you, what tools are you using to be more mindful of others in the team and communicating, with the the business owner and then your team members. Where is Laurena at?
So I felt so I had a conversation with the business owner like about 2 weeks ago. So I was always under the impression that he just sort of accepted what I was doing when I needed to do it, when it came to like juggling parenting stuff and whatever. But he actually expressed to me, he's like, I kind of don't ever know what you are, where you're doing, like what's happening. So now I've gone through a phase where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to send you a little breakdown of my week.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm like, oh, it's in my calendar. Like you can see where I am. But then he's like, obviously that's not something that he looks for.
Yes.
So it's like, if he's got a little breakdown, like I send him a little email that just says, Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday I'm doing this, Wednesday I've got this on, going to be in late, like something like that, just so that he has a bit more of an understanding of where I am, what I'm doing, and if I'm not in the office, where am I? Like if I'm at a client appointment, am I doing something for my children? Am I like, where am I?
Yeah.
So, which is fair enough because he sees me, if he doesn't see me behind my desk, he's like, is she working?
Yeah. But that's come to a point where you both needed to communicate effectively.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So there were maybe some assumptions or a little bit of uncertainty and it's, obviously with the one-to-one, you have catch-ups with him to be able to do that. And I'm privy to this because I am working, with the business and I love working. I love it too because I genuinely really love the culture and the business and the structure there. And
me too.
I've learned a lot about it and looking forward to working with the team. I've got a project this week that we start, so that's really exciting.
It's so exciting. I'm excited for everyone in our team to have access to you because I feel like I've had access to you for a really long time. So I'm aware of my communication styles and their communication styles and the like disc profiling and that kind of stuff that we've worked on.
Yes.
But then everyone else in my team is not aware of it. So then I'm communicating with them and they're like, oh. And I'm like,
I'm trying to be effective here.
I'm like, and like, I feel like they're not necessarily understanding my communication style.
Yes.
And like I've said to you before, I never have any malice in anything that I say.
No.
Like I'm always just trying to like get the job done. And I am like, I just want to be loved at work. Like, I'm like, why don't you like me? But it's just about like, I want them to all have access to that information so that we can all understand and all grow together.
Yeah. That's a really important piece. And so speaking of growth, for you in your role from a young woman at Elders and then coming to Brisbane and now in a corporate environment, how are you finding that professional development growth for you? And I know we've worked together and we're working on that as well. And in that space, I love the leadership piece. How are you finding some of the little skills and the little tidbits, what's been a standout for you?
Some of the things that you have taught me, like, is to not whinge.
Oh, that's a good one.
And to speak up. So I can be a bit of a whinger. Like, can't we
venter.
all?
I'm going to call you a venter.
Look, the thing is, I don't ever come from a point of malice. I come from a point of frustration.
Yeah.
And I come from a point of I'm so motivated, I'm so passionate about
results.
what I do.
You're results
driven.
driven.
I am. Yeah. And I come from a point where, I'm just so passionate, so motivated. And I'm like, come on, get on my plane. Like, we're going for a ride. Like,
on the bus. Remember we call about the bus. You're driving the bus.
Yeah.
Everyone come and get on my bus.
Like, get on my bus.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but I have to, and working with you has made me understand people aren't like me.
No.
And it's hard for me to find other people that are like me. I don't know why I'm like this. Can't I be normal?
Can I talk about your ADHD then?
Yeah,
Do you
absolutely.
feel that plays a part with the hyperfixation or the others might think, I don't want to call you scattered, but there are times when maybe they are scattered.
So I feel like I come across so blasé sometimes. So one of the team members will be like to me, oh, Laurena, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this, like asking what to do. And I'm like, yeah. But I'm like listening to what you say and I'm just like, I don't care. Just do. Like it'll be like, do you want me to call them or do you want me to email them? For like things like that. Like I'm just like, I don't care. Do whatever.
Yes.
But well, not necessarily always depending on the client. But sometimes I'm just like, just sort it. Like, but then other times when it can get so detailed and so like the question's so intense, I'll just turn around and just provide like a full-on response. But like I feel like sometimes then people don't take me seriously because the majority of the time I am so blasé and I don't mean to be. Or I'll be like, yeah, I'll just do it now. Like, I don't know. Like, but that's just me. And then I'll like go back to my desk and I'll be like
Yes.
yeah.
So do you feel it's that part of you that always wants to be amiable and generous of, you know, of your time? So therefore you just go, yeah, you do you. Like you're trying to instill some of that with, you do what you think's the right thing.
Yeah, I think it's partly that, but I also think it's because I'm focused on 700 different other things. And what you're talking to me about right now, I don't have space for.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds terrible leadership, bad, but like, I'm just like, for me, I came into it wanting to manage my account.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily come in wanting to be a leader. And that's just something that I had to learn. Mm-hmm. Like, so you start your new role, I'm managing an account. Oh, but I'm also leading a team. There's two different aspects to it. Whereas like all I wanted to do was insurance.
Yes.
But I love having a team. I love having the support of people. But yeah, sometimes I have to work on the way that I communicate with them. But now we do like our weekly little catch-ups and that kind of thing where I do give them my undivided attention.
Yes.
So I can focus on what they're saying. But yeah, sometimes they'll be talking to me about something for, you know, a policy that's like every client is important. But like they'll be talking to me about something for a policy that I'm sort of like, that's past the point where I need to be working on it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll be working on like a massive deal at the same time. And I'm trying to focus on that and focus all my attention to the liabilities and exposures of that risk. And you're talking to me about this and I can't. And yes, what you need is important, but I can't break away from what I'm focusing on, if that makes sense. Because of my ADHD.
Yes.
Or just maybe because I don't know, crazy.
You are not crazy, not whatsoever. You are definitely not crazy. I feel like this is how we've worked also is that you're always seeking that the results and the right outcomes. And there's times when, your focus is I need to deliver this. And so this what we're working on is that you also need to be clear to them, to your team members that you're in a position that you're in at the moment. So, I don't quite have the capacity right now. Yeah. Can I revisit it at another point? So that's still a work in progress, which is fantastic for you. Yeah. What else for Laurena are areas that you feel that you could have some further development or areas that you want to, look at?
I just want to get to a point where my account is running so smoothly and my team is running really well. And I know, you're coming in soon to the business, and I think that that's going to be really beneficial because you're going to be able to focus on people's strengths and weaknesses and where they thrive and where they
constraints.
Constraints.
Holds them back.
Yeah. I was like, weaknesses sounds bad. I have weaknesses. We all do.
Well, I see that's very old school. I like to now call them constraints. Yeah. It's what takes more energy. Yeah. Because we can learn new things.
Yes.
But they're not always going to be our strong point. Right. So they're things, for me, detail it's not a weakness. It's just not always my strength. And forget any detail from me for the rest of the afternoon now. I'm best 9 to 11. That's when I'm at my switched on detail, can read through and in the afternoon I overlook things. So
yeah, I think I'm a bit like that too.
Are you
I
as
shouldn't
well?
say that for my job. But,
but that's identifying that's really important. So then when you are working on those big jobs or the real detail, that's when you say, right, I'm blocking out 9 to 11 because I need to hyperfixate on these details.
Yeah, so my thing is, yes, I'll do that. I'll take that time to hyperfixate on the things that I'm working on that are important. Yeah. But my main thing that I'm skilled at is I'm good at building relationships. Yeah. I'm good at the warm and fuzzies. Yes. I'm good at that. One of the
that's the eye, the peacock.
Yeah, the peacock. One of the ladies that assists me, she's not into that type of style. She is very process driven. So when I'm like, I think it's a good way to have someone who's got assists you who is different
Detailed,
to you.
yes.
And she's detailed. So therefore I have the right people backing me. But yeah, and that took a while to get used to because I'm used to dealing with someone who's like me and I'm like, oh.
We don't need to hug and have a special relationship. We can be really good work colleagues.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
and care about each other still,
Yeah,
but we
of
don't need to
course.
get deep and intimate every day with everyone.
Yeah,
Hey, Laurena.
so it's a bit of a change, but it's actually good because I'm like, oh, I know that all of my pre-renewals are sent out 6 weeks before.
Yep.
I just know it because I
You have
trust
faith
her.
and confidence. There you go. And the trust.
Yeah.
And so, Laurena, in the role that you're currently doing, what other areas? I know that you have got the business owners do help mentor you as well, and they do support you through flexible work arrangements.
Yeah.
So that's something that's really important, and I, love that and recognise that in the business too. That's something that's for a lot of young women that are juggling it all to be able to have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
So for you, how does that look with school next year and, how's that looking for you personally?
Oh, look, I'm so grateful that I do work for the people that I do.
Yeah.
And yes, as I mentioned, I literally got pregnant within I think it was 2-3 weeks of working there. So,
Wow.
and they were so supportive, and really supportive of me coming back to work as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, babies are hard.
What was this morning's, I'm going to digress now because you did share this story about this morning.
Yeah.
What was this morning's meltdown?
Okay, so after my 2-year-old had woken me up several times during the night and just crying for her dummy because, yes, I don't have her off a dummy. Don't judge me.
No judging.
So my 4-year-old daughter full on just had a major meltdown because she couldn't find her polka dot undies.
Right.
She wanted to wear them and only them. There was 700 other pairs there that she could choose from. So eventually I just picked, she was full on screaming and crying. And this is what I deal with every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And she's major meltdown. And I'm like, this one or this one? Which one?
Oh.
And I'm melting down and she's terrified of me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then she's also just trying to wear her thongs to school. I'm like, you need to wear enclosed shoes, girl.
Yes.
And she's like, well, Marcella's my youngest daughter. She's like, Marcella's not wearing enclosed shoes. I'm like, she's a baby. She takes them off. I'm like, it's just chaos all the time. And I was like, fine, I'm packing your joggers, but just wear your thongs. I can't deal.
Is that makes it easier to go through that door, right?
Oh, sometimes just whatever gets you out the door.
Yeah.
And then she had show and share on today as well. So of course I hadn't done anything, hadn't done any prep work. So I just emailed them a bunch of photos. But yeah, she wanted me to take a photo with her by the fish tank.
Yes.
And I thought she meant in front of the fish tank, not next to the fish tank. So then she's crying and screaming at me because I'm trying to take it in front of the fish tank. And she's like, Mommy, I'm just so nervous. I'm like, why are you nervous? She always says she's nervous. I'm like, this poor kid, I'm putting so much anxiety on her. I'm like, I'm sorry. Feel like I'm just always, it's one of those things you're trying to rush out the door. And it's yes, I get to the office when I get to the office, but you don't know the morning I've had.
Yeah. So what do you do when you get to the office and you've had that morning, which you said is pretty much every morning?
Pretty much every morning.
How do you switch off? What do you do when you get to the office? You sit in your car?
I will just I'll listen to some good pump up music from the daycare to my office, which is literally
what's your pump up music?
Oh, it's Britney Spears or Chapel Roan or something at the moment, something good. But I do that and then, the daycare and the office, the drive is literally 2 minutes. It's not far.
One song.
Yeah, one song. We're limited.
Yeah.
And this sounds really weird, but I'm a drama kid.
Yeah.
I do get into character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's not about like being fake or anything.
No. It's channel the energy of the performer.
Channel the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I get it.
Yeah. I turn into Insurance Barbie. That's who she is. That's not who I am at home.
No.
Like, but
So you walk through the door and it's like, morning.
yeah, morning.
Yep.
And then some mornings I'll just go straight into my office and I'll just be like, ugh.
Yes.
And then I'll get in my zone, get in my
Decompress. Yeah.
But sometimes, yes, it's challenging. But my office is like right when you walk through the door.
Yeah.
So I don't have to walk past anyone to get to my office. But I do make an effort of like trying to call out morning most days.
Yes.
Or like, I made it. I'm alive.
You sneak in because you might be running late.
Yeah, sometimes I'll
Right.
sneak in a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Quick, don't draw attention to
Yeah,
me.
I'm like, oh no.
What's some advice for other mothers then doing it all? Well, appearing to do it all. Well, you're doing it all, but appearing to have it all put together.
Oh.
What's some advice? And this is the thing. Women do want to hear that we're not perfect. You know,
Yeah.
we do have struggles, and I'm at the other side of it. I've got children, 30 and 27. I don't have to deal with that juggle of children and school and getting them. I did as a single mum. That was challenging, but rewarding. I look back and I hear you and my heart, my empath is huge. What's some advice that you've got?
I think just to communicate effectively with those around you and don't feel like you're constantly letting everyone down.
That's a
just
big one.
let them know your limitations, I think. Like,
Do you think you do that well?
No.
No. I love how you're giving advice. It's funny how we give advice for
good at
others.
the
We're
advice.
so good. We're good at giving advice to others but not taking it ourselves.
I think I'm getting better at it.
Yeah?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I aim to. I think that sometimes as well, like, you don't need to be so hard on yourself to go, oh, I need to give my kid like a full-on healthy dinner. Like, they feed them at daycare. Give them a sandwich for dinner sometimes. Like, sometimes that's all you can do.
Take the pressure off.
Take the pressure off. Yeah. It's like, and everything doesn't have to be spotless. Just, I don't know. I'm a very big neat freak. I get very
Hence you
overstimulated.
put your pressure on yourself again for that too.
Yeah. And I think, another big one is definitely taking time to work on yourself.
Yes.
Like, so I go to personal training 3 times a week with my personal trainer. She's like my best friend. She knows everything about me. I love her. I know everything about her. She's amazing.
Yeah.
We're like literally same energy all the time. And I think just taking that time for myself is so important.
Yeah.
And like for me, it's a non-negotiable. Like
Yeah, good.
I have to stick by that and stick to it. But yeah.
And goals for Laurena for the next 12 months?
Oh, so I think for me, yes, I am a career girly. So I love just like, I want to work effectively with my team and continue to build on that. But I also don't want as much stress. I don't want to be working on the weekends, working at nights. I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
And I think like working with you, I've sort of gone like, oh, I'm doing too much.
Yes.
Like I was.
Yeah.
And
Reviewing your productivity,
Yeah.
right? So when you're there, it's not just about activity, it's productivity.
but I also thrive under pressure as well. Like
Yeah.
even though I thrive until I don't. Like
You thrive until you burn.
yeah, and I will full on burn out.
Yeah.
And then I'll get sick. My kid will get sick, and then I'll get sick, and then we'll all be sick, and it's just a whole
Vicious
chaos.
circle. And then you get back and then you
Yeah.
go back again because you've
Yeah.
had some this year experiences with that, haven't you? You've
Yeah.
had a couple of illnesses
Yeah,
in
this
the
is
family.
like always going on. Like yeah,
Daycare.
daycare diseases, ruining my life.
Thank you, Laurena, for sharing. Love a bit of a insight into the what's underneath and the complexity of Laurena Vannucci.
Yeah.
Thank you. And again, it's been such a pleasure to work with you, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what the next 12 months holds.
Me too. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited.
You
Thank you.